I think that's why I like it so much is that I'm seeing women, and I was one of them, who always went, I was like, oh, I want to do that.
So we've known each other since, 2008, I think, the beginning of 2008, pre-kids.
Yeah.
But I don't know a whole lot about your history, so what brought you to Crested Butte?
Actually, I went to Western.
Okay.
So I started as a college student in Gunnison, 92, 93. I knew I always wanted to come out west and ski out here, experience the mountains. I thought I'd do it more after college, but found Western and just kind of fell in love with the place.
That's great. What did you study?
Yeah. I studied political science and psychology, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so fitness has always been a part of my life, but it's always been kind of a sideline thing or hobby that I did. I didn't think it would be my career at that time. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the history of your background. So
Yeah.
what did get you into this passion that you have?
I started martial arts at an early age, and my father was heavily involved. Both my parents were athletes. So, I got my black belt at a young age and started teaching classes right away. So I was teaching some adult classes by the time I was 13. I had a kids class that was mine. So was always working with people and movement and figuring out how to, express that to them. And then the dojo, actually, a woman was coming in and started teaching jazzercise. And I was always early to class.
Jane Fonda.
Yes. And, I was always watching, and she's like, oh, do you want to do it with us? So I started doing it with them, and then I started subbing some of her classes.
Wow.
And just kind of continued on that path, in and out of it.
That's amazing.
Many years.
You also grew up horseback riding, right?
Yes.
And what events did you do?
Yeah, so I started actually riding Western, and then quickly transitioned into Pony Club, which was English riding, and you had, the 3 events: dressage, cross country, and
what they do in
jumping.
the Olympics? Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty
At
cool.
A much lower level, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. But you probably could have gone to the Olympics if you stuck with it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Never know.
I rode Western and did English as well, but with quarter horses. Did you have your own horses?
Yeah, so I had, we got our first horse, which was just a quarter horse, kind of a workhorse. And, he was very happy Western. And then we transitioned him into English, and he'd come from like a barrel racing background. So the jumping was, it was quite interesting, and he taught me a lot, how to be a good rider and how to be, confident and in control, but yet, gracious and
it's amazing what a horse can teach you.
Yeah.
It was the best childhood I ever had. I could have had. It's amazing. So was your dad into horses, or
no?
How you just?
My mom was.
Okay.
My mom grew up on a farm, and then we were also on a farm. I was raised on a chicken farm, so we had the ability to have the horses at our house. And my dad was not into horses, but he really supported that. And
so nice.
Yeah, he would get up at 4 a.m. and take us to shows, and he built jumps for me. So without having the resources that some of the other kids that I rode with had, I had everything I needed.
That's amazing.
To be able to do it, and people would come to our house because we had the horses there, and so it was really special.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I want to know a little bit more about your dad, because you post on Facebook a lot about his boxing and things that he's doing. What is all that about?
Yeah, so he started his boxing program actually out of our farm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we had this big barn set up. It's actually like a steel building that he had built, and all of a sudden it started turning it into a boxing gym slowly over time. So there was the bags that went up, and then there was, just the workout stuff, and then all of a sudden there's a full-size ring right in the middle of this.
In your house?
Yeah, in the garage.
Yeah, in the garage.
So that was the first program, and he trained, a lot of the young kids in our area and guys that he worked with. And then from there, that passion just continued, and he found a building, just an old bus station that was really run down. When it rained, it flooded the gym, and very, very little money. I mean, he was pulling money out of his pocket to keep it going, and started working with a lot of the youth. And so you had kids that really couldn't afford anything, to do anything extracurricular in their lives, and they had a place to go, and the support of, that they weren't getting at home. Maybe it's a single family home, a lot of single moms raising these boys.
Wow.
And so he
Gives
really,
me goosebumps.
yeah, he really provided a place. And, that continued into a ton of fundraising. He had one of his best friends that was heavily involved and was like, hey, I have a piece of land, we've got a building we can put up, and they moved into, it's about 11,000 square feet.
Wow.
It has an after-school tutoring area.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And where is this?
This is in Maryland.
In Maryland, okay.
Yeah. And so on any given night, you'll walk in and there's, 50 kids.
Wow.
And the coaches, and yeah.
What an impact.
Huge.
Yeah,
huge.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's what a background for you too. I mean, it explains who you are, having a father like that, for sure.
A father, and then, really honestly, it wouldn't be the success without my mom.
Yeah.
He's definitely the showcase piece.
Yeah.
He's very charismatic. He plays music out. I look at my daughters, and Mackenzie is very much like my father.
Really?
Does well in the
Outgoing.
spotlight. Very outgoing.
Yep.
And Hallie is more like my mom. She's the thinker, the backbone. She's going to make sure everything behind the scenes is taken care of.
Oh.
So that's really where Nancy came in.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and she's an attorney, so she made sure, they're in line there, and the accounting, and, did a lot to provide the structure for a lot of the fundraising that they do now. And actually, after, 25 years of doing this, he finally takes a salary and is able to focus all of his time on that.
Wow, that's so cool. And some of his boxers have gone far, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He's had, some pros that have fought for world titles.
Wow.
His kids do really well on the amateur level. He does work with pros. He worked with Sean Porter, who just fought a double title fight, and is looking to defend or come back for that title. So that big fights. But honestly, he's more concerned about the youth in the program.
Good.
He's not. The pros are great, but they're a very small part of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you have two beautiful daughters,
Yes.
and now they're skiers.
Yeah.
And tell me about that. What's that like for you?
It's exhilarating and scary, and it's, just the ebb and flow of emotions watching them become little skiers, and, starting them off on the magic carpet in those little boots, and now,
at 18 months, or
oh, it chokes me up. Now you're
crazy.
hiking them out to Spellbound Phoenix and being like, oh, mommy loves this line and daddy likes this line, and they're figuring out what they like, and
it's amazing.
fun.
It's so fun to watch them grow and ski, and as a person that grew up here,
Yes.
also skiing that stuff as a kid, it just really becomes natural.
Right.
And it's crazy. And now, knowing that as an adult that grew up here, I still get scared skiing these lines. I'm like, you're crazy. It's
well,
amazing.
and that's one thing, I always wonder, because I didn't grow up, skiing was a treat. It was a vacation. And, it's such an ingrained part of my daughter's lives, which is what I wanted. And that's why we chose to raise our children here. But I'm always like, do you realize how good you have it?
Yeah, they
do.
don't.
You realize how good you had it, Jessie?
I didn't. Nope. Until I came back. I had to leave and come back, and then I realized,
how good it was.
Yep.
And I see that a lot. A lot of kids, they leave, and then it's like, they're like, wow, my childhood was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're so lucky, and our kids don't know it, but they do.
Yeah.
They get it.
Yes.
So,
So, we love skiing. My daughter does mountain sports. We don't push it. It's something that I always want to be able to do as a family.
That's how I feel too.
A connection with it, and something that they have, in their lives. But, they love dance, and that's definitely probably a bigger passion for them, which is totally theirs. I never would choose to be a dance mom.
well, but you have the background of the same kind of a thing.
Yeah,
But
and I didn't think I wanted to be a dance mom. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And
but now that you're in it?
I like it, and it's kind of inspired me to pick my passion back up for dancing. And
That's so fun.
Yeah, so I'm doing Move the Butte, which is our adult production. Just a community dance piece, and they're very involved in it. My daughters are choreographing for us, and they come to the practices, and they warm us up, and I love having that connection with them.
And it's so popular, the movie Butte. Tickets sell out. I mean, they're already sold out. It's February 20th, right?
Yes.
And it's sold out.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's a really cool production of all just people normal people that aren't dancers.
Right.
That go and
and
do
challenge
these.
themselves. And I think that's why I like it so much is that I'm seeing women, and I was one of them, who always went, I was like, oh, I want to do that, you know, and you never really prioritized it or, you know, made the commitment. And now this is my second year, but, you know, I have women that are in my pieces that it's their first piece, and they're like,
Oh, fun.
I want to come dance with you. And it's just so fun to like have that time with maybe a group of women that you never would have that time with. And you're dancing and, you know,
Just doing something completely different.
doing something completely different.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
That's another great thing about our community.
absolutely.
We have all these cool events.